Well, hi. So recently I've been thinking about one of my absolute favorite sayings, and that is life is a journey, not a destination. And I love this saying because for me it really says, you know what, savor the moment, live in the present, just really be where you're at right now. And the past is the past, the future's the future, and you're just supposed to be here now and trust the journey and just enjoy, right? But I started to think about my journey and kind of like how I got here. And when I say here, I don't mean like in the universe, like in the great scheme of things, like how do I fit in, but like how did I get here to be a health coach? And for I think most of us, I think if we looked back at our past journey, most of us probably don't have like the straight line. Like we're not going from like point A to point B, with no like potholes and speed bumps and detours. And sometimes I think I'm like, oh my gosh, if I like look at my past, like the journey would look like a toddler's drawing. Like it would just be literally like scribbles all over the place. It definitely is not that like straight line from point A to point B. Because I started out as an engineer, and that's where I thought I was going to stay because that's kind of how I was raised. It was you go to college, you find a job, you stay in that job for like 30, 40 years, you retire, you get a pension, you get benefits, you move to Florida. Um, and I so did not do that. I did go to college, I got my engineering degree, and actually did it for a few years. And right before I was going to get married, um, my then husband and I decided I was going to quit my job. And so I feel like that began what I like to consider my lost soul's path journey. I tried several different career options. I looked into going into jewelry. I actually went back to school and got a graphic design degree and started up a couture card company. Gosh, what did I do after that? Oh my gosh, this is the craziest one. I was a co-owner of a Pilates and pole dancing studio. Um, and then I think after that, then I went back to school for wine and did that for many, many years, including owning a wine store here in New York City. But it's funny because even though it seems like I was like all over the board, right? It's like, how, how did you go from like thinking about like graphic design to pole dancing to wine to health coaching? But what's interesting is actually there is sort of this connecting thread that like leads through all of it. And my entire life, I've actually been interested in health. And it's not just the conventional Western way of health and medicine, which is why I think, even though, yes, I also pondered about going to medical school and ultimately decided not to, because for me, health is much more holistic. It's much more than just, you know what, here's your symptom, we're gonna give you a pill, we're gonna essentially put a Band-Aid over it, and you're gonna be fine because you're not gonna feel those symptoms anymore. I'm all about like, let's dig deep. Let's really figure out what's causing it. Like, and everything is so connected in our body. And I remember I used to drive my poor mother crazy because I would get like a cold and she would want me to take some Sudafed or Alka-Seltzer or who knows what. And I would always say, no, Mom, it masks the symptoms. And I kid you not, I think I drove this poor woman crazy with that saying. But that's exactly how I felt. And it's really something that became a core value in my life, is really taking care of my health and doing it in a way that I wasn't masking the symptoms, but I was genuinely letting my body heal and letting it take care of itself and letting it really do what it knows how to do given the right tools. And it's interesting. So when I found out that the world of health coaching existed, it was like, oh, it was like the skies parted. I felt like I was having an Oprah moment. I was like, get out of town. There's actually this career. I was like, what in the world? What have I been doing all these years on my lost souls path journey trying to figure out what I want to do? And I'm like, this is it. Like this, it makes me just so happy because I know like this is it. It took a long, crazy journey to get here, but I feel like I'm really on like the path that I'm meant to be on. And when I started to think about how I wanted to be in service of being a health coach, I had to also, look at myself and look what I was passionate about. And the thing that I had recently experienced was going through menopause. And I'm telling you, it was not easy and it was not pretty and I did not welcome it. And I tell you, I was like a little toddler. I was stamping my feet. I was throwing temper tantrums. I was crying. I was screaming. I was doing all the emotions. I was not going to enter into this lightly. And it was difficult for me. It came with a lot of shame. I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone about it. I didn't want anyone to know about it. I felt like my femininity was being stripped away from me. I was concerned that as soon as someone might find out about it, or they might find out I was having a hot flash, that somehow they would look at me as lesser than. Like she's really no longer a woman. And I carried this with me for years. And I acted out. I'm like, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if you want to call it like a midlife crisis. I don't know if you want to call it temporary insanity. I don't know if you want to call it hormones. I don't know what it was. But I really acted out. And I started to, drink too much and eat too much and not sleep and really just not take care of myself, not take care of my relationships in my life, not take care of really anything in my life. And I really was like spiraling down, all because why? Because I didn't want to go through something that was such a natural part of life. And so I really started to work on myself and work on how I felt and how my journey through menopause was going to be. And I couldn't help but think, I can't be the only woman who feels this way. I can't be the only woman who feels like she doesn't know what's going to happen to her body, or she's afraid of what's going to happen, or she's worried about losing some femininity, or she's not really sure how to handle the symptoms, and she just doesn't want them covered up with pills and being told that this is just a part of life and suck it up, buttercup. And so it spoke to me that I wanted to go from a place of feeling ashamed of something that my body was naturally going through. I wanted to go from a place of feeling that I wasn't any longer like a worthwhile woman, that I wasn't feminine. And I really just thought, you know what, shoot, screw it. I'm gonna like shake this up on its head, and I am gonna like, bring it out into the sunlight, and I'm gonna start to celebrate it and really understand it and really embrace it and really find power with it. And all these things brought me into a really, really good place. A place where my body is happy and it's healthy. My mind is happy and healthy. My spirit is so good. And it was a struggle and it was a journey and it wasn't easy. And believe me, there were some majorly potholes along the way that I fell into. But it's something that once you have the tools, once you have your vision, once you know your why you want to achieve that health in your body, that happiness in your body, it really becomes this amazing time in your life, this journey that really isn't about the destination, because I'm having so much fun right now in my life. So that's really why I decided that as a health coach, I was going to focus exclusively on women who are in that middle part of their life, dealing with hormones, dealing with the fluctuations, dealing with perimenopause, and all the symptoms that come with it. And I just want to be like, girl, it's okay. We are going to do this together. And believe me, as my mom, who's a very, very, very smart woman, used to say, she used to always say to me, Cher, where you are going, I have already been. And that's kind of how I feel right now. I'm like, where you are going, I have already been. So if this is something I can help you with, please, please feel free to book a free 45-minute discovery call with me. I'm gonna go ahead and put the link down below. And I wish you nothing more than just a wonderful and amazing journey on the way to your destination. Peace and love.